is Garth, otherwise known as Big G.
My name is Richie Blackford.
Mrs. Griffiths would have been very proud of her daughter, Marcia, even though she reluctantly allowed her into the music business. Marcia went.
Yeah. All we need to do is to recognize that if we put investment in, we are revitalizing communities. How we deal with small man? And so the sound system started to come up. The sound system was the small man entertainment. And
inimitable toots. Mr. Frederick Hibbert himself. And the Maytals.
His mother, Prince Buster, had his imprint all over it. You know? And
Sundays come here.
You know,
Sunday now come, gentlemen. Sunday is here.
Let me tell you something. When you have a show like this, every Sunday, it's like you can't wait for 2 o'clock. Good afternoon. Welcome to Sunday Scoops. It's another Sunday, and we're here to give you Jamaica's music legacy. 60 years. This is part 2. And I don't think we're even going to touch 30 here in a reach about. No, we're certainly going to try.
We're going to try. And our guest today in studio, beaming live from St. Andrew, Jamaica, is none other than Mr. Mikey Bennett. So work hard.
The man who went straight it out for you.
Bless up. Yeah, got it.
Now, last week, Mikey, again, welcome to Sunday
we touched some serious tune. I think the standout for me, based on the conversation we had, was Duppy Gunman. That was my highlight out of all of the tune them last week. In terms also that song by, I think, Hopeton Lewis. Yes.
In fact, that's the song. Prior to coming on here just now, a friend of mine called me from Jamaica, and we were talking exactly about that song. Say that song is probably the most important song to come out of Jamaica at the time. Mikey, you alluded to that last week as we developed the conversation.
Take It Easy, 1966.
Take It Easy.
Arrangement by Lynn Tate.
And he made that point. He said the man who arranged the tune was even a Jamaican. And I said, well, by the time the Lynn Tate done decide to now go back to Trinidad again.
Him transplant.
So, him don't transplant himself. But we talk about 60 years of Jamaican music, and that is I think this is a good launching pad from which to step off. What we did last week, we
went up to 1975.
1975, and so we want to take it from there.
1966 was a year which heralded and ushered in a year that was been steeped in Rastafarian prophecy, and is the year 1977. So we're going to kick off 1976 with Culture's prophetic tune, thing named 2/7's Clash.
My good old prophet Marcus Garvey prophesied, St. Jacob, Levy, and Kingston is gonna meet. And I can see with my own eyes, it's only a housing scheme that divide. 2/7's clash, it's red. 2/7's clash.
Ballistic affair. Ballistic affair. We used to lick chalice, cook idols together. Play football and cricket as one brother. Let you rest a jungle And you might black a rima. You are gonna fight against your brother. That no right, my sister. Let us all live as one. Yeah. Throw away your gun, throw away your knife. Let us all unite. Everyone is living in fear just through this ballistic affair. Not through your black out of the east, and you might rest a west. You won't come say you are the best ballistic affair.
I know over my head. I'm sorry over my head and pray someday on my table and pray on my table with love in my heart with love for everyone. Remember when God said, sometime I was there, every gully I go red, even man.
Yeah, Richard, 3 wicked tune. Actually, I should have played them the other way around. I should have played 2/7 Clash, then I Need a Roof, and right after that, Ballistic Affair. As a man said, the gully I got run red. And 1976 was an election year in Jamaica, and we don't know that that was the year that them say we have them under heavy manners.
The 3 songs that you have played serve some very significant purposes. But again, let me throw the discussion over at Mikey, and we pick it up from there. Mike.
Yeah, I'm happy to be a part of this. When we talk about we call it now, social commentary, you don't get better than this, right? Because if you notice, the common theme in these 3 songs was someplace safe to live, someplace to live.
Yeah.
Both economical and someplace safe. And those of us who remember that era, the ballistic affair was, it's just a well put together song, and it just summed up the era so well. People were concerned about safety. And
Absolutely. Personal safety.
To live. And sometimes when we think about things there, when I have to take a trip into the inner city and realize, you hear all the while that people go down, kick down doors. And because you live in a concrete building with strong door, you wonder how easy it is. You didn't realize that a lot of people were living in some board houses with very limited security. So a roof over your head was a crucial thing. Trust me, and there's a period, the ballistic affair thing is that, everyone is living in fear because of this ballistic affair. It's like a thermometer at the time. It was so true. So true.
Again, we want to touch, let me step a little bit further back because 2/7 Clash, a prophetic tune. It was, and we just celebrated Marcus Garvey's birthday.
August 17th.
When was that? 17th of August,
17th,
right?
Yeah, 1887.
But at the time, the first half of the 1970s, the country was becoming significantly more aware of Garvey and his role. It took the country almost 40 years to be able to appreciate Garvey's contribution, to the development of the Jamaican society. And culture took that prophecy about, Garvey leaving prison. When he leave the prison, the door is going to be locked, etc., etc., never open again. Talk about the structure of the cotton tree down by what was it? By the Ferry police station, that kind of thing. And so it was culture providing Jamaicans with an interpretation of what was forecasted and the history of all of it. And here we are, some almost 50 years later, and the song still has strong resonance. In terms of a reminder of Garvey's role and how the system treated with him at the time.
Yeah, but it also got to show the importance of the music, In other words, like them used to say, however accurately, if you want to hide something from a black man, you write it in a book, right?
Right.
Very few people were reading certain things. And
True that.
And the school system tended to make the whole Garvey thing an intellectual situation. It wasn't lifetime, it wasn't real. I became a member of I was asked to become a member of the Friends of Marcus Garvey. And because I didn't realize that Marcus Garvey had written some lyrics that I wanted to put into songs. And Marcus Garvey was interested in a lot of things. They humanized him. I think we have dehumanized Marcus Garvey to a point. I mean, fine, he's a prophet and all that, but the realness of him eluded us through the books. It was the songwriters and the singers
who kept his thing alive.
Yeah, man.
And personalized it. And in fact, he became the template. He became that topic, if you will. You have to give the songwriters credit. Leroy Smart, who, a colorful character he was at the time, but that song, as you made the point, was seminal because it sought to the ballistic affair side, but culture and Joe Gibbs, that collaboration that took Marcus Garvey, the topic of Marcus Garvey rather, and turned it into a history lesson for a lot of us, And in fact, I was a cadet at the time. I remember we were at a camp at Dint Hill, and we were coming into, what was it thing? Buster had died, and there was a funeral. There was a funeral thing. 1976, there was going to be the Bustamante funeral, and so we were brought back to Kingston to form a guard of honor. And people were talking about the prophecy of the Garvey prophecy to the extent that in 77, on the day, the 7th of July, 1977, a whole heap of Jamaican people never go to work. They decided to stay home because of the fear of the fulfillment of this prophecy, and it catch them outside. It's part and parcel of this whole thing, black heart man, and we drive fear. So they use the Marcus Garvey thing sort of. There's a fear factor, but again, the factor of the culture of it wasn't lost on us. To Mighty Diamonds, I Need a Roof. Remember, to 1976-77 was the period of the realization of these social policies that the Manley administration had been putting out. You had a lot of these sites and services home. To your point, Mikey, about the security of being able to own a home, to have somewhere to call your own. That in 1977, Jamaica still had a massive housing problem. And so the Mighty Diamonds, again, took that and made it into song, immortalizing the issues that we were faced with at the time. God?
Yeah. Next up is 1977. And we're going to run about 3 or 4 songs, starting out with Culture again, Zion Gate.
I don't wanna be left out of Zion Gate. I don't wanna be left out of Zion Gate. I don't wanna be shut out of Zion Gate. I need you to live in His love. and feel. Joy alone can be my satisfaction. Fill my heart with love. Jaja see them a come, but I conquer. Jaja see them a come, but I conquer. They are coming to accuse us for things I know not about. They are coming to lock I down and tell I that there is suspicion. Yeah, Jaja see them a come, but I conquer.
I and I follow flag that I and I love so well, hung across the sky, on ships and school and national arena too. Good God, don't you know I'm a graduate from the University College? To pass him subject, said he not to pass him GCE, said he not to pass him JSC. Said he not to sit up in a UC. Mercy Lord, not to have ambition. That's why he study about the Babylon. Said he not to study about the Babylon teaching. Said he not to study about the Babylon teaching. Them say left, right, too wrong.
Man, if you run down your shadow now, you can never catch it. Man, if you run down your shadow now, you can never catch it. I said a woman is like a shadow, and a man is like an arrow. A woman is like a shadow, and a man is like an arrow. So never let a woman know how much you love, 'cause there won't be no peace in your life. And I say, never let a woman know how much you care, 'cause they will do things to hurt you, and it's no joke about it. I said to do what you can for them, but not too much.
We're not advertising no green buckle people in a brethren. Careful of what you drink.
Yeah, but you know, I can't believe that the man them not giving no heads up party. You know?
Listen, man and woman story will forever be in contention. But let's talk about See Them A Come, Zion Gate, not to pass in GCE with Short of the President. Before that was Culture. And then we ended up with The Meditations. Woman is like a shadow.
Mike.
Yeah. You know, it reminds me of a story I heard about Bob Marley and Marty McFlanagan. Them. Bob had a habit of just going and sitting down amongst Martimer them for like 2-3 days and doing something. And the next thing them heard from him was a song that probably just sum up the conversation or reveal something that him took out of that public conversations. When you listen to Culture, because then I've had the benefit of being in some situation where you hear some reasoning under some tree, some bridging. It's like you can actually picture the precursor to some of these songs are sitting and reasoning among some man there. And like I don't know if I mentioned it on the program, the use of the word them in that time was against the system, the Babylon system.
System, yeah.
We don't know how we and them are going to work it out.
Man, where, you know, you against, all right. But them, the use of the them word, them. Me don't know what me and them are coming.
Them Monday.
Jaja See Them A Come.
Exactly. It's a bigger force, not that like a parochial, you know, jealous thing or you know, arms house thing. And that is one of the things that come out of that thing. And like God said, the ever-present man or woman situation. Whether it's about phone
Search your phone. All right, boss, I got you.
Ever-present has always been. I want to show that the musicians were communicating what was most important in their life. I know the story about that particular situation and that song, and it was just what was happening in his life. So it was like him was just bearing him soul. So in other words, it's what you call now inspired music. So I just wanted to add that based on something that I've heard before. But it's three powerful songs.
A man is like an arrow, a woman is like a shadow.
Never let a woman know how much you love her. Yep.
But that's your point, Bill.
You know, but Mike, we have come a long way, you know, because we have moved, we have regressed, if you will, because today, man and woman issue, and you know, it promotes the domestic violence issue. Somehow, these guys, based on this song, the words of the song, you get a sense of an ability to cope, whereas today, that's not the experiences that we're having. We somehow have lost this, and maybe it's a good time to look back at, you know, the value of the music as a teaching tool, if you will.
And 1977 was a year that heralded the Disco 45, you know, with Joe Gibbs and using the Part 2. And quite a few things happened in 1977 too. Bob Marley's album, Exodus, that was released. Third World, 96 Degrees in the Shade. That was another big album that year. Marcia Griffiths did her Naturally album. As a matter of fact, she redid it with Sonia Pottinger.
Right.
And of course, Dennis Brown had a couple of hits that year, like Natty, Stay at Home, with Natty on top, and of course, Wolves and Leopards, which was a very big monster hit too. And Gregory Isaacs with tune like Oh What a Feeling and Tumbling Tears. So it's not that there wasn't any other songs apart from those three songs. But those are the songs.
Those three songs were, I couldn't argue with you with that. And I think Michael shares this sentiment. It's very difficult to argue against those songs as being the three most powerful songs.
And that's why I called up and let the listeners have an idea of what else was happening at the time.
It is important that we give credence to the work that Joe Gibbs was doing at the time. Because Joe Gibbs, in his own right, transformed the music, or the presentation of the music, moving away from the 2.5, 3 minute 7-inch 45 to the 12-inch, and the combining of the vocal with the DJ at the end.
Yeah, because on Zion Gate 2 was another big DJ team with Prince Mohammed, a 40 leg dread.
Yeah, the dread now the 40 leg.
And that was also, again, Rasta putting forth the foot to say, and then Peter Tosh had his album too, Legalize It, with tune like Equal Rights and them tune like.
But it's interesting that Prince Mohammed at the time wasn't even a Rasta man. Yes, Mike.
It's something else that it marked significantly, you know. It marked the moving away from the sound system with a bunch of selectors to the dub plate situation.
Right.
See? So a lot of things that Joe Gibbs was one of them people who had him ears to the ground internationally, you know, and was responding to the demand from the ethnic pockets in Europe and the thing there. So England was very popular because, like I said, more sound systems. Everybody can have 2 or 3 top selector on him sound. So the whole question of the dub plate and the thing came out, and the importance of that. People realized the commercial value of that situation, the version and the thing. And so that is one of the things that you have to give Joe Gibbs credit for. I mean, Joe Gibbs, and by Joe Gibbs, I mean Errol Thompson.
Errol Thompson, absolutely.
The Mighty Two. Yeah. The Mighty Two.
Yes. Gibbo was the brain and the marketer, but Errol Thompson
was the man behind it, the engineer.
Engineer, arranger, everything.
I mean, Willie, Willie name again. Gets it.
Willie Lindo?
Creating the music in the studio. But I mean, Joe Gibbs, I was branching out internationally, set up everything in Florida and stuff. But Joe Gibbs, he saw the bigger picture. I mean, he must really after the big things. He probably doesn't have dot the I's and cross
all the T's, which we're gonna get to that in a minute. Crossing the I's and dot the T. God, what you have?
We're gonna run 3 more quick songs. Marcia Griffiths, Dreamland. Then we're gonna run another Marcia Aitken, redoing her version of an earlier Alton Ellis song, My Man. And of course, we're gonna finish up again because one of the things we realized, culture dominated the 70s. There's hardly
absolutely.
a Saturday morning that you turn on your radio, whether JBC or RJR, and not hear a culture song. And that was from the Kumbolo album, a song named Not to Never Get Reba. Kicking it off with Master Griffith's Dreamland.
There's a land that I have heard about so far across the sea. There's a land that I have heard about so far across the sea. To have you on my dreamland would be like heaven to me.
There's a land that I have heard about so far across the sea. There's a land that I heard about so far across the sea. To have you there on my dreamland would be like heaven to me.
My man, he's a cool man. My man ain't no play man. He's been good to me, Lord, and it has been so long. Ooh, believe me when I say sometimes we've had a lover's quarrel. Don't you know, don't you know, don't you know?
Brutality, me I tell you about, you know, brother.
Nothing ever yet get me yet, man. Nothing ever get me. Shout it out and tell them. Nothing ever get me. I know the battle seems so hard in Babylon. The conflict gets so wrong, things get really harder. Nothing ever get to me. Say to them right out, let them hear it. We will. I was standing on a corner reasoning with two daughters. Reasoning with their equal rights and justice. Teaching them of the way they are to live. You got the Babylon to ride on a race side. Never yet get leaving.
Babylon jump out of the jeep and say, "Boy, give me a search out about it." I'm on throw the back forward to you. Stick her up with him gun and just come forward down and I innocently and begin juke to all over. You know? I mean, I'm on forward inside of the jeep, you carry forward to Stony Hill jail, you know? And when him take us to Stony Hill jail, him take everything from I and everything he say I possess. Master, where I get it, you know. It's a boy, you inside of the jail. You want wara right now. I just close you up. And tell her, man.
Is that the right way for a human as a policeman? To react to a citizen as a peaceful one? Not doing any wrong, but still for on. Because I'm 21,000 miles away from home.
60 and bossy with J and Money.
What a way you look both in it. J and Money, I give a dream vacation and go Yaawd, brethren. Move. After you now with nothing, you travel with luck. I'm have to do is send some money go a Yaawd for your chance and I eat that. Where?
Celebrate Jamaica 60 with J and Money for a chance to win a dream vacation for two to Jamaica, including airfare, resort stay, and more. Send money for a chance to win. J and Money 60 and bossy enough. No J and bank account required.
Listen, everyone can use a little pick-me-up. And when it's that time, reach for a bottle of Zion Organic Roots, made from all natural ingredients. Zion Roots and ginseng, tiger bone, bedroom bully is the natural alternative. Zion Roots is available at all local restaurants and Caribbean stores. Visit our website at zionrootsorganic.com or call 954-588-5203. Zion Roots, the natural alternative.
Jamaica, the home of authentic reggae music and reggae wear. Reggae wear, the gear for any occasion. Reggae wear, stylish. Reggae gear, fashionable. Authentic garments, the rhythm of Jamaica. Wrap yourself in the warmth of reggae wear. Get your reggae gear today. Visit www.yawdmedia.com. Capture the rhythm of Jamaica in reggae wear. Vibrant colors for spring, summer, fall, and winter. Visit our website at www.yawdmedia.com and get your reggae gear today.
And we're back. Just before the break, we played Dreamland, Marcia Griffiths. We squeezed in Third World's 1977's Dreamland because we just realized that it was a really spiritual, the rendition arrangement. Then we played Marcia Aitken's My Man, and we omitted to put on the blouse and skirt, Joe Gibbs production on that, and Cultures, Natty Never Get Weary. And the reason why we allowed that one to play so long is because we wanted to hear the dialogue, or the monologue actually, of Culture talking about his experience with a policeman. Robotham was the man who arrested I.
Natty never get, he says that the right way
for a human as a policeman
to deal with I and I as a citizen and a useful one. Mikey, you are the guest. Yes, sir.
Picking up on the thing that I really want to talk about. And I put in my songwriter's hat and my songwriter as a teacher hat. What Culture did in that monologue, it was like he was doing the video. In other words, he was giving you a blow by blow situation. So one of the magics of it. In other words, you realize that some things might escape in the metaphors, not never get weird and kind of something. So in other words, if you had a little doubt as to what he was talking about, here was a situation from which you could have drawn the conclusion that, things rough out there. I remember as a youngster living in Minott town, and we were coming from someplace one night and coming down Mountain View by Excelsior, just turned into Minott town, and there was road curfew. And of course the police then pulled me over. And Bob Marley's song came into my mind, Curfew. And him said, thing there, let me talk to the boss.
Internet issues.
Yeah.
What,
70s, in the 70s, Richard, the confrontation between a Rastaman and a policeman, you know, it is just something that you can see it like in that movie, you see Rockers in the movie Harder They Come, you know, with them riding in.
Ride the bike, man, yeah.
Yeah. Because the minute you're a pillion rider, you're suspected of carrying a firearm.
Some gun are in, some
or
drugs
you have
business.
some drugs still. Yes, so and
Mike Cummings back. Yes, Mike. Back to you.
Like I said, I don't remember if you heard about my situation with curfew.
Yes, man. That's where you were.
Okay, and the Bob Marley song came to me, and it guided me through that process. Find the boss. So I found the inspector, and I said to him, listen, we're students, we just coming, heading home, went out to play pool and heading home. And just our openness and thing, and just send your hand. But that Bob Marley song, we won't take on the little man them with the gun, them just head straight to the boss. So culture is giving us that little roadmap. This is exactly what was taking place. So with all the metaphors, nothing ever get weary and this and that, it's fine. But this is the real situation. You know, this is what taking place in a daily thing between police and suspecting. You know, people that never look a certain way.
In fact, what culture is saying,
it legitimized what was taking place in the Joe Gibbs thing with the singer and the DJ version, if it was a related. Somebody said some of the situations that you might relate with some of the Disco 45s. What the DJ was saying was not related to the former song. It was just another version. But this was like, listen, when I finished the song, you must have no doubt the context of this particular song.
How would you rate Joe Gibbs? Because one of the things, you know, off camera, myself and Magic, we were talking about this, Mikey, that by this time, we're talking the late 70s, going into the 80s, Studio One or Coxsone as a producer was sort of on the wane, if you will. I think Coxsone would have moved his operation to New York and was more focused on distribution than anything else. But Joe Gibbs seemed to have basically grabbed the reins of music production in Jamaica at the time. And we know Joe Gibbs wasn't the only person producing.
Well, Channel 1 was.
Yeah, there was Channel 1. But certainly Joe Gibbs' prolific output is outstanding. And not just outstanding in terms of volume of music, but the quality and the impact of the songs that he was producing at the time.
Yeah, and like I said, I lay a lot of that praise at the foot of the late, great Errol Thompson, who was engineer, online producer. Like I said, both of the, and it's I'm glad we're talking about it because it speaks to the almost symbiotic relationship between the studio owner and the person making the deals and the person in the studio making the hits, making the songs, ensuring you'd hardly see Joe Gibbs in a studio talking about lyrics and them kind of thing. That was his thing.
He was a businessman.
Deals and making sure that what's supposed to happen. And when the song was finished now, that is when his role kicked in.
Right.
Sure in the earlier days he was very, but Errol Thompson, Roddy Thomas, and the crew mad around him, the Light Parks and the Bob Ladam and the thing, the Dean Wordy, in other words, he put in a system like his quality assurance officer, ensure that the standard was there. And then when you land, when you have a crew like with the Dennis Brown now, then things start to, and then Willie Lindo became a part of that team, and so he maintained quality based on the people that he put in place to make sure that happens. And there's a crucial formula for production.
For success, because you have to also look at his success rate was outstanding. We talk about culture. Culture basically ate the 70s like breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But at the same time, Peter Tosh was also there. And Peter Tosh, granted, he never stayed very long. I think Peter Tosh only worked with him for about 2 or so years. Dennis Brown was also there. I think Dennis Brown and him had a partnership where he did the songs, and Dennis, he gave Dennis a lot of studio time that he could do stuff for himself. But
I took Dennis got the deal with Ian and thing. And so that was pretty much Dennis' base for a while, you know. But here's the thing, but we all have to understand. It's like it has happened over the years. Artists, songs and artists make studios, you know. Don't care what anybody wants to say. Don't care how you have the great. If you don't have the right set of artists round you for a period of time, artists dictate certain. And usually the great producers, the ones with the insight, identify the artists who is going to make
carry them
to the other level.
Yeah.
So the culture was the perfect for that time. Then the Dennis Brown era. I mean, George Nooks. I mean, and the other things, you know. But when you have that one big artist in your camp, first of all, it bring other artists come. I mean, and people realize what's going on, and then people follow. I mean, after a while, so Joe gets hot. So every selector looking for the label, just like what was taking place in Channel 1 or with Jammys later on. You look for the label and this radio station, you get a relationship with the radio station. So you're putting out good stuff, but it's the machinery around it better than everybody else. And that is so crucial. So you need them treating the song, the singer, the machinery, and the production. And when you have them going, you can make a lot of money. The esteem of your place just get bigger and bigger. And it set the trend for the future.
All right. Just for those people who just join us, just want to remind you, we in studio we have with us Mikey Bennett, a songwriter, producer extraordinaire, and we're looking at 60 years, a legacy of Jamaican music over the last 60 years.
And socio-economic, political.
Absolutely. But let me leave it. Let me just turn the microphone over to the man, Mr. Big G himself. What
Yeah, but we just run some tunes still. Dennis Brown, Ain't That Loving You, 1979.
You think I love you for just one thing. To you my love, it may be the way it seems, but I love the way you carry yourself. I even love you for what you may become. Ain't that loving you? Ain't that loving you for more reasons than one?
This is the Rockers. This is the Rockers, ladies and gentlemen. You keep on knocking. You keep on knocking, but you can't come in. You keep on knocking, but you can't come in. Oh yeah. Love is a message that I must send to you. Awaiting for reply, dear, no matter how long it takes. You keep on knocking, but you can't come in. You keep on knocking, but you can't come in. You keep on knocking, but you can't come in. Old folks say that love comes in many, many faces.
In this time of confusion, people preparing themselves for Armageddon, and without even knowing, they're keeping fit for the fire, and they're wearing Adidas Oh yes, them wearing the Puma. On the them wear up the NASA. I and I preparing to leave ya. See nothing walking on the sand in a Babylon land. Keeping fit to conquer creation. Jogging on the sand in a Babylon land. Here is a warning for this generation.
I wanna share your life. Every minute, every day and night. And I want you to know that whatever you do and wherever you go, remember someone loves you, honey. No matter what, just be my guide. Someone loves you, honey, more than anything in the world.
No more uptown, downtown. We all run together on one ground. No more uptown, downtown. Not to bring us all under one ground. Where the social barriers broke down. Together in a one love jam down. The social barriers broke down. London in a one love jam down. And I saw the chilo say, the foreign and the local. Do what? Add up to the roots man of vocal. Say so. The foreign and the local. Add up to the Rasta man of vocal. And I saw the chilo say, the barriers broke down. Together in a one love jam down. The barriers broke down. In a one love jam down. Old pirates, yes, they rabbi. Sold I to the merchant ships. Minutes after they took I from the bottomless pit. But my hand was made strong by the hand of the Almighty. We forward in this generation triumphantly. Won't you help to sing these songs of freedom? 'Cause all I ever have, redemption songs, redemption songs.
Yeah, well, I just gave you a slew of songs because we covered 1979 and 1980, heralding into the 80s. But let me tell you, give you a recap of what we played. Was started out Dennis Brown's Ain't That Loving You, and then we had Jacob Miller's Keep On Knocking, and then we played Jogging, Freddie McGregor, and Someone Loves You Honey, J.C. Lodge, and we played One Love Jam Down, No More Uptown, Downtown, Michigan and Smiley, and we finished up with a big bad acoustic rendition, Redemption Song.
Mikey.
Muted.
Muted,
Yes.
Mikey.
No.
Yes.
Oh.
I miss those days when in a year you could hear that variety of powerful songs by some of the best vocalists we ever had in the in the music business. So what it shows is that things was, you could almost feel a little ease of the pressure. So in other words, it wasn't just doom and gloom and ballistic affair. There was a little sunshine creeping in. Someone Loves You Honey, and the D Brown, and the D Brown,
Kojak and Liza, Part 2.
and Freddie McGregor are probably two of the most charismatic singers we ever had in reggae. So it was a time when you could have feel like say, something wonderful was about to happen, both musically and internationally. You know what I mean? And I was just smiling when I was listening to all them songs and realized the array of different things that we were getting. I mean, nowadays it's hard to get that kind of variety of, composition, both in terms of tempo and thing, that dominating and these are songs that are being played on radio regularly, not just,
True that.
So that was a memory of a much nicer time for me personally.
Your assessment is so apt, Mikey, because you're right. Having lived the period, this was my post high school days. I'm now, I think by the time JC Lodge came out, I was working at Grace Kennedy as a young marketing officer and so on. So you kind of finding yourself. The country, we kind of moved away a little bit, as you said, Mike, from the politics. The elections had run, and for some reason we seem to sort of drift back into a gentler period, if you will. As a young man, you find a girl and you go Epiphany and you hang out the whole night, and you go down to Gino's, go eat a late night red peas soup for ease off some of the white rum off of your chest. Say, if you have a car, fine. If not, you hold a checker cab and you beg him drive, go through Heavendale. A Vineyard Town, you go,
Them time there.
You want him drive through Vineyard Town, through Avondale and take a long route before you carry her home.
Yeah, man. Them time, Richard, the taxi was the ubiquitous Morris Oxford.
Absolutely, man. With the long seat on at the back there. Yeah, man. And
of course the Peugeot 505.
No, that's a pretty car.
And then now you had the Wolseley, but the Wolseley was more and then you had the Vauxhall.
Lord have mercy, you're gone now, you show up with age, But to Mikey's point, it was a transformative period in the music. I think this was for me where Marley had begun to make a difference in the music in terms of his whole vocal intonations, the way he presented his lyrics. And it sort of helped to influence how some of the other singers, the other writers were approaching their own craft as well, because have this standard. And remember, by this time, Peter Tosh is now out there celebrating his own solo career and so on. So it was a really, really great period in terms of the maturing of Jamaica. I don't want to just say reggae, because it was Jamaica music and it was everything.
Yeah, man. And then coming to 1981, kicking it off with Big Bad Barrington Levy with a song for all the men out there who are purveyors of the opposite sex.
Kind of friend are we living in? 7 fat girls to 1 slim breadery, 21 girls salute. Why are we fussing? Why are we fighting over women? This is the time for us to unite and be good. General penitentiary. General penitentiary. Down in the dump cell, where I can take no smell. It's like a oven baking for 2,000 years. When the morning comes, I would run to get some tea. Here comes the bosun with the spot. Saying dreadlocks, you don't come here to drink this soup and spot. Oh, General Penitentiary. General Penitentiary. Oh, General Penitentiary. General Penitentiary. As time and time go by.
Yeah, we only gave you two little pieces from 1981, and that was Barrington Levy's 21 Girls Salute and Black Uhuru, General Penitentiary.
A two central song that, you know, because them two songs that introduce the two elements. I mean, Mikey pick it up this, but Black Uhuru and the, you know, what they symbolize in terms of the music at the time,
and if
of
you
course
didn't know,
Barrington Levy.
Uhuru means freedom.
Mikey.
But Barrington Levy was someone who was an observer, and without fear of, you know, analytic criticism or, you know, intellectual criticism, him just said it like how him said it. But because his vocals were so good and he was so intent on what he was saying, he was communicating with a significant portion of the population. So whether you never like, I mean, whether the language or the thing wasn't, he was talking about a situation that was important to him and to him bring them. And that is one of the powers of the music. And then on the other side now, we have had so many situations where with incarceration of people that we know and people that think. And Michael Rose, I mean, just spoke about the jail situation in such a haunted way. In other words, discouraging anybody from even going there. So these are two, you know, one was encouraging discouraging men from fighting over women, and this one was discouraging people from going to this place called prison. That's not a nice thing, you know. It's not a nice thing. And I mean, when you listen to the sermon in a Michael Rose voice, it just, yes, don't go there, don't end up there. I mean, I used to do some work in the prisons, and let me tell you, is the longest 2 hours in the world. I mean, you're going and there's some when you get close behind you. And I always said to myself, you can imagine when you're coming in here in a couple of years and you hear that gate close out, what's it? Because every time you hear that gate close behind, you know, do something.
That's it. Yeah.
It has a finality.
Yeah, man. You know, you leave in 2 hours' time, but
you now go a door again.
It's amazing, Mikey, that, you know, how similar our paths have been over the years, because I did a little bit of social work with the prisons, with General Penitentiary down on St. Thomas Street there, with Susan Alexander. She had an art program which I kind of had cottoned into by when I worked at the library, and so we would go down there on a weekend. We usually try to go on a Thursday, and then, you know, Susan Alexander more time on the weekend. And I think at the time she had opened an art gallery on Harbour Street. So to your point, going through those gates, that heavy gate, when the gate shut behind you, know, I remember the first time you feel it in the pit of your stomach, because you wonder, Jesus Christ, if this is, you know, you feel like you're locked in with these guys.
But you do, you are.
Yeah, you know, and so you wonder how them can survive in a place like this. But it introduced you to another side, and I think to what it again, we talk about the maturity or the maturing of our music at the time. The feature of Jamaican music that made it so special is that by the time we got into that, the 1960s onwards, we were taking ownership. So the songs were more about personal experiences. It was about what was the lived experience. And as you say, both Barrington and Levy talking up to his brethren. You know, he's the woman thing. This is, you know, these are the pitfalls, if you will. And then on the other hand, you have Black Uhuru.
So I want to sort of group kind of start to think about some of the rhythm tracks that we're hearing that making the waves here. How they can reappear in the future.
Absolutely. We're
Yeah,
up
man.
on a break, Mikey. Let's run the break. We're gonna come back and pick it
All
up
right.
from there. I think we're gonna have about 10 of these shows because can't. It's not so easy to do it. But let's go to the break. I'll be right back.
Celebrate Jamaica 60 with Jay and Money for a chance to win a dream vacation for 2 to Jamaica. Send money for a chance to win. Competition runs from now until December 24th. Jay and Money 60, I'm bossy enough.
Listen, everyone can use a little pick-me-up. And when it's that time, reach for a bottle of Zion Organic Roots, made from all natural ingredients. Zion Roots in ginseng, tiger balm, bedroom bully is the natural alternative. Zion Roots is available at all local restaurants and Caribbean stores. Visit our website at zionrootsorganic.com or call 954-588-5203. Zion Roots, the natural alternative.
Jamaica, the home of authentic reggae music and reggae wear. Reggae wear, the gear for any occasion. Reggae wear, stylish. Reggae gear, fashionable. Authentic garments, the rhythm of Jamaica. Wrap yourself in the warmth of reggae wear. Get your reggae gear today. Visit www.yawdmedia.com. Capture the rhythm of Jamaica in reggae wear. Vibrant colors for spring, summer, fall, and winter. Visit our website at www.yawdmedia.com and get your reggae gear today.
Hi, my name is Yellow Man, and in the ghetto they call me Mr. Sexy. And special request to all the girls in Jamaica and all over the world. You know, I Yellow Man come to make you feel irate. Do it, ja. You could have lived in a Kingston or country. Do it, ja. Them over me, them mad over me. Over me, them mad over me. St. Thomas Cullen gone crazy over me. Kingston girls, them a love me. Them over me, them mad over me. Hey, over me, them mad over me. I one thing with them when they get hungry. One thing with them when they get hungry. This is what they say to me. I like my at with what? Grace Jamaican ketchup. I like my hamburger with what? Grace Jamaican ketchup. Fish and chips and chicken and chips and almost everything nice with chips. Macaroni, rice and peas. You lick your lips. That's the ketchup, please. Grace Jamaican ketchup.
Chip on the left hand side. Pass the chip on the left hand side. It a go pop. It a go done. Jano. Pass the chip on the left hand side. Pass the chip on the left hand side. It a go pop. It a go done.
Ah. Tell her try your best just to make it quick. Come and tend to the sick. Cause there must be something she can do. This heart is broken in two. Tell her it's a case of emergency. There's a patient by the name of Gregory. Night nurse, only you alone can quench this your thirst. Whoa, 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 yeah. Sailing, sailing. Say when I'm ready, you must hold on steady. We're moving off at lightning speed, yeah. Take a seat and wait till I'm ready. I'm coming, so hold on steady, yeah. Big ships sailing on the ocean. We don't need no commotion. Big ships sailing on the ocean. Whoa, whoa. Say big ships sailing on the ocean. Big ships sailing on the ocean. Yes, boss. Yes, boss. Yes, boss. Yes, boss. Police in helicopter. I search for marijuana. Policemen in the streets, searching for cali weed. Soldiers in the field, burning the cali weed. But if you continue to burn up the herbs, we gonna burn down the cane fields. If you continue to burn up the herbs, we gonna burn down the cane fields. Soldier in the herb field, burning the cali weed. Police in helicopter, I search for marijuana.
Every time I hear the sound, the sound, the sound, the sound, the sound. Every time I hear the sound, every time I hear the sound, every time I hear the sound, the sound, the sound, the sound, the sound, the sound that is not my name. Mr. Brown, Mr. White, that no right, lad. And every time I hear the sound, 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 the sound, the sound, the sound, the sound. In a dance, I jump on a prance, rocking every top instead of dancehall cock and the gun start back. And every time I hear the sound, every time I hear the sound.
Oh, every time I hear the sound, that was the sound of Mr. Muta Baruka, the Barefoot Dread. We started out giving you Mad Over Me, Yellow Man from out of 1981, then went into 1982. Well, we couldn't just find two tune Richie. So we did Pastor Kutchie, Mighty Diamonds, Night Nurse, Gregory Isaacs, Big Ship with Freddie McGregor, Police in Helicopter, John Holt, and of course, the dub poetry, Muta Baruka, the man who walked into the hotel and said, "What you know with the barefoot?" Him say, "Boss, not a barefoot, a my foot."
God, you're gonna buy the liquor after the program is over, right? God, I don't know where you get that from. Mikey, the significance. Muta. Mark, Muta was not the first dub poet. People like
Onura,
Linton
Kwesi Johnson.
Take that. Actually, Linton wasn't even the first. Oko Onura. I remember
Orlando Wong.
I remember presiding over a function at the library. I was working at the library, 1976-77, when just before they released him from prison, he had released his book called Echo, and that was the genesis of dub poetry. And then the Cultural Training Center across around the corner at Arthurwin Drive, you had people like Mikey Smith and a whole host of others. So Kwesi Johnson actually came afterwards, but because of the British thing, we pay more attention.
And also, before you come in, Mikey, Linton Kwesi had a very big song too called the Anti-Sus Poem, Sonny's Letter, which described, that was...
Yeah, man, that's probably my favorite thing.
That came out in 1980.
Yeah.
But your thoughts, Mike?
No, I think we just continue to see the emergence of just how things was diversifying. This subject, it wasn't any one subject matter. Again, people are talking about different things. And the branding, because I mean that Big Ship thing branded Freddie McGregor to this date, that Big Ship.
To this day. In fact, that's the name of his promotion company, Big Ship Promotion.
Big song for him.
And him label too.
Powerful song for him, yeah man, and the label. And the diversity. But guys, what interest to me is, I know you chose a couple songs out of a whole heap of other songs that you had highlighted. You had earmark. It would be interesting to me to hear some other songs that we didn't play but featured very strongly in that era.
1982 and the 1980s was an era that, you're talking about songs like Eddie Fitzroy, The Gun.
Yeah.
Rita Marley coming out to songs like Harambe. Again, Eddie Fitzroy, the same year with his First Class Citizen album, that was a massive album. Because you're talking about songs like Youth Man Penitentiary, African Queen, Gregory Isaacs, Stranger in the Town. Freddie McGregor also had another song, Holy Mount Zion, Carlton Livingston with Chalice in Mind. Muta Baruka that year too, not just every time I hear the song, but he did Sit Down on the Wall, Butter Pan Culture, The System is a Fraud. Dennis Brown had Old Man River. John Holt also had another song dedicated to women, Fat She Fat.
Yes,
that song. And of course, Lady Ann's Informer on the Headless Rhythm with Johnny Osborne, Rock and Comenia.
You have to play the Lady Ann thing. But I want to go back to... You agree with that, Mikey?
And Yellow Man Morning Ride, that was on Yellow Man and Fathead, Bam Bam. Dennis Brown's Caress Me Girl. But I tell you, Barry Salmon with one of his breakout songs, Riverbank. That was 1982 too.
The Muta Baruka thing, it's very significant that at a time when the music is sort of shifting into there's a kind of consolidation that's now coming out of Jamaican music in that 1980s period. It seems as if, to my mind, that having gotten rid of a lot of the political tribalism of the 70s, the atmosphere within the country had sort of settled, and so you're getting a different vibe, as you call it, Mikey. But then it was kind of the calm before the storm, because by we introduced Yellow Man. Yellow Man was a significant shift in Jamaican music, right?
Yeah.
Marley by this time had passed on. The dancehall culture is now opening up. In fact, it opened up a little earlier because with Sugar Man at 79.
Revisiting Studio One's
put some Studio One
catalog.
rhythms. Right. But Yellow Man was sort of the frontal attack of this thing. And what was worse is that Yellow Man sort of smaditized, to use a Rex for the word, the Dundus thing, because normally you say a Dundus in Jamaica and everybody, if you don't walk on the side of the road, everybody go on the other side of the street.
Virgin albino.
Whatever you have. Well, we call it Jamaica, we call him Dundus, albino, right? And so for somebody to to poke fun at himself in the way Yellow Man did, and then use that as a springboard to literally take over Jamaican music in that 1981, 81, 82 period up to about 1985 is very, very significant.
Yeah, man. A big song during that era too was Mighty Diamond's Heads of Government.
There you go. But
Yellow Man thing was is a lesson in marketing, is a lesson in using whatever it is, turning things to an advantage. And so people came out to see him because I heard him was doing this, ready to criticize. But he was so good at what he was doing that he was laughing first.
Yes.
But he was connecting. As a Grace employee, I was wondering what you thought about the song.
I was at Grace Kennedy at the time, Mike. I was there. And I have to give credit to, it's a genius of, at the time it was Ivan O'Yee. Ivan O lived in Canada. And he was the marketing man. In fact, he was the one who employed me away from the library at the time. And so when the Grace was literally, we had just come out of the elections. Remember, we had the shortages of the 1970s. And so Grace Kennedy was kind of poised to literally launch their operation. The marketing department at Grace Kennedy was new because I went there to join that marketing department. And so when Yellow Man bust the song, first of all, there are two versions of the song. And they were trying to get it played on the radio. And Ivan approached Yellow Man and he reworked the lyrics to bring the ketchup thing in. And Grace, through Ivan again, some dealings with the RJR under the quiet. And we basically gave RJR the lion's share of what would have been Grace's advertising budget at the time. And they took, the song went to the moon and back, and Grace ketchup sales went to Mars, right? It established Grace Kennedy's ketchup as a leading tabletop sauce in the Caribbean. And it also pulled a lot of the Grace products with it. Things like Grace Butterbean. In fact, there was a little ad that they make where they say the Grace, and the girls say Grace tomato ketchup, Grace Butterbean, Grace hot pepper sauce, and that kind of thing. But it was really some significant marketing. And again, my credit, I have to give Ivan E at the time credit for the work he did with that.
That year,
it does show the power of artists, in other words. And that when that connection is made with corporate or with a product, how they can help each other.
Absolutely. In fact, one of the criticisms that we have of our music today, our corporate Jamaica, is the role that they can play, using that song as an example to sort of, if you ask me, reorient the music, if you will. Because one of the things Jamaican music lack is that level of corporate involvement. And I think that Grace Kennedy experience was sort of a jab, a sort of a jar in the door that's saying, here's a look at what can be done if we try to open the door a little wider and bring more corporate involvement into the music.
A couple of other honorable mentions would have been Jimmy Cliff's Street the Youth, right? And apart from the ska telling people how to dance, Johnny Osborne had a song called Water Pumping, which was a big dance in the dance hall at the time.
Big song.
And Tommy Cowan had a big song too, Are Ya Coming, which was one of those Nyabingi chants. And there was the festival song of the year was the Astronauts, Make We Jam. Steel Pulse made their big entry and in that year too with one of their albums. I don't remember exactly which one it was, but that was like Chant a Psalm a Day, and
that was big.
Their other songs, Your House and Ravers, Leroy Smart, Draw Card. It was huge, man. 1982 was big.
Of course, though, and I know you're heading there now, God, because that 1983 was kind of the recognition of the role of the dancehall. We, had these I remember the first set of concerts, the Dancehall series, Dancehall 83, 84, 85. There was a concert at Harborview Drive-In, which introduced a young fellow by the name of, Leroy Smart was on that show. It would have been either 83, 84, but it introduced Tenasaw, and it introduced a couple of other people who were coming through the door at the time.
But that was up into 1985. But let's kick off 1983 with one of the biggest songs ever for that year, and was by Dennis Brown, and is a song called Revolution.
And what it takes to make a solution, fighting against oppression, ooh yeah, battering down depression, oh yeah, whoa, ooh right revolution. Are you ready to stand up and fight it just like soldiers? Many are called, few are chosen. Here I come with love and not hatred. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow I all the days of our life. Envy no one, no wish to be with no evil man. For there'll come the day when you'll be whipped by the Father's hand. Leave up huge children. Oh yeah. Leave up past children. Yeah.
Hey, hey, hey. Yes, yeah. World of reggae music on ya. Hey. Keep me rocking with me daughter. Hey. World of reggae music on ya. Hey. Never left ya, never know, sir. Eh, Now just be nice and hold your space. I won't entertain no more disgrace. Out in the street, they call it murder. When rhythm's passing out your head.
Buffalo soldier, dreadlock rasta. There was a buffalo soldier in the heart of America, stolen from Africa, brought to America, fighting an arrival, fighting for survival. I mean it when I analyze the stench. To me it makes a lot of sense. Of the dreadlock rasta, was a buffalo soldier, and he was taken from Africa, brought to America, fighting an arrival, fighting for survival. Said he was a buffalo soldier, dreadlock rasta, buffalo soldier.
Let me tell you, if we were to play every song, which was a big song that had momentous occasions, we'd be here all next year still I do this legacy series.
This 40, listen, we still have almost 40 years of music to cover. But Mikey?
Reggae had grown up. The music had grown up. Now, what happened is that the Slides and Rabbies and the things were touring, and they were seeing what the world was consuming and what the appetite was for. They were coming back. That era, you could almost call it era the Sly and Rabbit era. I mean, with the Dennis Brown, you could hear
the snares in the drum,
which came on to be one of the most influential set of rhythm tracks made for people for the music. And then Bob was out there, just forging away.
Posthumously.
Posthumously.
A lot about international markets. The music production levels had risen significantly. You could hear the sound, and because, like I said, the engineers were touring then, and they were coming across some counterparts using all kind of equipment and doing things. And although fascinated by our music or its sound, so once you introduce tech people to technology, more technology, they want to try. So they came back to Jamaica and they was pushing the envelope. They was pushing the studio owners, buy equipment, and make the thing sound better. And from then on, the whole quality of production. I'm talking production quality, not necessarily songwriting quality. I think that come and go from time to time. But production, acceptable production, was just on the up. And that was a really, that was the start of a really, really good time. That is when I went into music full time, as a matter of fact.
We're coming there. We're coming to that. We will never forget your story, Mikey. We're coming to that. But it is significant because Sly and Robbie, as you said, we talked about Joe Gibbs in that 1970s period into the early 1980s. But also by which time to Sly and Robbie is finding their thing. And you get to the point now where they are the most influential guys as far as the music is concerned. The willingness to embrace emerging technology and infuse it into the music. Studios.
From just being the producers, which was crucial, because you didn't have to conform to what anybody with them narrow mind was thinking. You could experiment because you were out there. The demand for what the sound that you had was out there. You could have seen the reaction at the stage shows and when you toured. So you came and said, okay, I'm going to do it this way. And Sly, if anybody knows Sly was always experimenting with sound and new stuff and things. And employing, the musicians who were doing were cutting edge people.
Absolutely. I know we have a whole heap of ground to cover. We're now entering into another phase. Mikey made mention of the technology. There was a time where Wayne Smith found himself with a Casio D12 machine, right? A recorder, if you will, and decided he was experimenting with the cards that were programmed into the machine, and realized that this is something that he could they could rejigger the sound, if you will, and it produced one of the biggest rhythms to come out of Jamaica over time, and made a dramatic shift in terms of where the music was going. And out of this is where we birthed what we now commonly refer to as the dancehall period. God, any thoughts before you hit us with this?
Well, before we get into that, we're going to still touch 1984 because that was way into 1985. But we're going to put one of the first previews that will take us to the break, and then we'll come right back into the music right after the break. But I look a group named Home T4 at the time with this song here.
Group called Home T4 invite the item to the special session, as I would say. Tonight at the standpipe, featuring a man called Sly the drummer, Soldier the engineer, Scientist as engineer, and Keith as the bass man, wicked.
Sound system and whoa, special dedication. Set string
miles around and it's dove-wise and otherwise. Rubber-wise, my little child. Before you can take a stock, cause dance all rum and the people rock. Sound system man, down there. Sound system man, ooh yeah. Sound system man, down there. Sound system man, ooh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes, don't forget to top. The stamp pipe and quick fireman race. I give you brand new disc cause I would
like the pipe will lead his flock to the river.
Listen, everyone can use a little pick-me-up. And when it's that time, reach for a bottle of Zion Organic Roots, made from all natural ingredients. Zion Roots in ginseng, tiger bone, bedroom bully is the natural alternative. Zion Roots is available at all local restaurants and Caribbean stores. Visit our website at zionrootsorganic.com or call 954-588-5203. Zion Roots, the natural alternative.
60 and bossy with J and Money. What a way you look both in it. J and Money, I give a dream vacation of go Yaawd, brethren. Move. After you now, we not need you trouble with luck. I'm have to do send some money go a Yaawd, be a chance, and I eat that. Where?
Celebrate Jamaica 60 with Jay and Money for a chance to win a dream vacation for two to Jamaica, including airfare, resort stay, and more. Send money for a chance to win. Jay and Money 60 and bossy enough. No Jay and bank account required.
Jamaica, the home of authentic reggae music and reggae wear. Reggae wear, the gear for any occasion. Reggae wear, stylish. Reggae gear, fashionable, authentic garments, the rhythm of Jamaica. Wrap yourself in the warmth of reggae wear. Get your reggae gear today. Visit www.yawdmedia.com. Capture the rhythm of Jamaica in reggae wear. Vibrant colors for spring, summer, fall, and winter. Visit our website at www.yawdmedia.com and get your reggae gear today.
Alright, long time you are hear this sound going around the town. A long time we are push it in a dance. Make the people them a jump and prance. Now they play it on the disco, and then they play it on the radio.
I know she wouldn't listen to me though, but I'm laughing and fool, well treated as so cool. She broke my heart and let me cry, broke any rule and that's why. True confession, she can read the story, read it in the magazine, and all of a sudden man, she goes on and she still wouldn't listen to me. But when I call her up and I apologize, she said she loved me, could not indeed, but I'm afraid until the rest of life. because I know she wouldn't listen to me. Because I know she wouldn't listen to me. Lord, I know she wouldn't listen to me. Lord, because I know she wouldn't listen to me. Lord, she don't want to hear what I have to say. Oh, oh well, oh well. But when I call her up and I apologize,
Trouble double double, swing double. Shoodly wop, shoodly whoop, whoa, you, shoodly wop, little, whoa, swing. And the intercom Rosie tell me to come. So she didn't have a daughter, she did have a son. She said the lift doesn't work, run up the stairs and come. And if you don't come quick, you're not gonna know that son. So I grab a bunch of rose and I started to run. Here I come, whoa. 2 months later, she said, come and get your son. Cause I don't want your baby to come tie me down. Now because you are old and I am young. Yes, while I'm young, yes, I wanna have some fun. Run me down. Shoodly waddly diddly woodly diddly whoa. Oh, swing. Way in my brain. It's way in my brain. It's way in my brain. Well, now. Way in my brain, it's way in my brain, it's way in my brain, well now. And I must mind to me, on I must mind to me, and I must mind to me, on to me, and I must mind to me, on I must mind to me, and I must mind to me, on to me, way in my brain, no cocaine, I don't wanna go insane. Way in my brain, no cocaine. I don't wanna go insane. And I must think to me, on, I must think to me, and I must think to me, on, to me. Hey, ring the alarm. Hey, whoa, ring the alarm. Another sound is dying. Whoa, hey, ring the alarm. Another sound is dying. Whoa, hey, some sound like a big jump on. Listen to sound, it's a champion. Rock the dance in any session. Rock up the woman, rock up the man. Ring the alarm. Another sound is dying. Whoa, hey, ring the alarm. Another sound is dying. Whoa, hey, T-Tato, we beat them all in a row. Donkey want water, but you hold him Joe. T-Tato, we beat them all in a row. Takas want water, but hold him Joe. Ring the alarm, another sound is dying. Whoa.
Ring the alarm, cause we kill a song to them, remember me tell you.
Let me tell you something. When you come right, yes or no. Mikey, this is your time, you know. You so we find a fishing out a tune with you. You don't remember
Sound
that.
system, man,
Yeah,
down.
man, trust me. That was a pleasant surprise for me. But I have so much to say right now. Sugar Minott. Sugar Minott is probably the most influential person in my career when it comes to vocals. I remember, we're in the group and we went to Channel one time and I saw what was happening. And I was fell in love with the place. And it was right above where I was working, left downtown, and I just drive up. And once I realized what was going on and I was accepted there, I just started going there. And me and Jojo became friends and things. But more importantly, Sugar and Minott and myself, it kind of took me under me because I was trying to say, we want a hit. We sing nice and people say we sound good and things, but we sang not playing in the dance. 1 and 2 songs from the radio and thing.
The song them with 2 pretty brethren.
Exactly, the man said. And you want a little thing, night, a little thing. And he guided. So he was very instrumental in that. Even that Home Tea, Sly Rabbit produced Home Tea album. He took me on them wing and took me on them wing. So I could have translated to the other man what he was saying and what he was bringing to the thing. And not being afraid to use the patois, even when you're singing the nice melodies. And that is something that Sugar Minott did very, very well. Because Sugar had one of the sweetest voices, but every now and then he did like a ragamuffin thing and it worked so well. There was two other crucial things that was taking place. One was in person, one called Barry G.
Oh my goodness, yes.
And then now, David Radigan in England. That clash between Bargy and David Radigan was the launching pad for dancer. I'm not even questioning anybody. Radigan was the person who draw the sling thing past Bargy, you know, and he never had no answer for it. Because David Radigan, although he was a radio man, wasn't basing his thing. I mean, he was a sound man, and he was a man. When he come to Jamaica, he cut down, and he cut down, and he cut down. And
spend money.
Him spend, but no, he never need spend the money because
most of the man do it for him for nothing.
Man, but he was cutting dubs as much to play on his sound system as radio. There was at this point in Jamaica now, radio and dancehall had drawn the line. In other words, radio wasn't playing certain things. So you had dancehall had taken over that mantle and was playing it. So a lot of artists and producers like Jammies and things were doing songs straight for dancehall. Them know the radio ones that radio would play. But they were also catering to dancehall. John Laws was the same thing. So the song with the Liquor John song and Anthony, them song was playing because Volcano Sound had created a set of stars, the Tyans and the Barrington, Levy and things. And so people was going out to see them stars. Even the Michigan are smiling. So there was a population, there was a cohort in Jamaica that was even interested. I mean, was listening to radio for other things, you know. So they listen to radio for the radio songs and the American songs. But when they wanted them real stuff, so the sound system that was a regular weekend thing, as far as their musical appetite was what was going to satisfy 90% of that. And the Bargy kind of found that out, I think, after Radigan does him out. Radigan knew that from England. Because in England now, you have 2 hours to play all the music, and you can't play all the music. So the majority of the music that you have, you're going to play it on the sound out of the road. You might just forget the name of a party he would keep every Friday night. And it was big in that. I was just playing tune and playing the versions and things. So it was a period in Jamaica where the lines was crossed, sound system and dancer. And every now and then a song crossover. It's like a Dennis Brown song. Yeah, Dennis Brown can play anywhere. But you had some artists who we didn't call them, were not necessarily classic singers or the classical singers, but these are people who had some connection to the dancer. So even Tenor started off as a dancer. Major Worries, to me, is one of the greatest influence on DJs today. So, I mean, and no, people start to acknowledge it. But Major Worries never have a lot of radio-friendly songs. That was not him thing. So it was that era when, you know, the just before they coming together, when the radio kind of succumb because of the great scandals.
I like that word. Radio succumbed.
One time was pitching that thing. He said, Mr. Bennett, it's tin mackerel. He said, no. I want something for my tin mackerel people. And I said, oh, and it was a big wake-up call because you there make thing and you're Grace, you're thinking about this. He said, no, man. The man who going to spend him $100 to buy this tin mackerel. That is the man who I'm trying to get right now.
There you go, yeah.
The same thing from digital. No, it's a $100 phone card people are trying to get to. So, corporate Jamaica was sending out some messages that some of us was getting. Listen, between we want the ears of those people. We're not catering to them no more. So in other words, we want to connect with them people. What kind of commercials, what kind of jingles we're going to do? We want dancehall jingles. We want somebody, it must sound like that song that can't play on radio. So it's a whole, and thank God I was right in the middle of that. So I was getting these influences from all, and I could interpret a lot of the data that was coming from out of corporate Jamaica. And by this time I'd gotten to Jammies now, I was working at Jammies, and I was able to bring my vocabulary then, my English vocabulary, to get it translated into street talk and vice versa. And I mean, as I'm talking now, I'm getting excited again because of how excited the times was. To have a pinchers come in and say, yeah, I like how that, but I wouldn't say it that way. And I said, what way I say it? And then say it the way and say, oh God, no wonder you have 9 songs on the chart. That kind of thing. So those were the days, that was the kind of excitement that was in the music, That's why the music sounds so. The next very important thing was that because a lot of the musicians were touring at the time, the big musicians were touring at the time.
The small ones rising.
Months at a time, certain producers couldn't get no work done. So because like 3 or 4 of the studios that people were actually laying rhythm tracks. So the jammies and the tubbies and the thing would have to wait until Slide them come or Radix them come and them go down and for like 2-3 days them just lay 30-40 rhythm tracks. You see with the slang thing, mistake or accident or what happened, man start to realize, right, but we don't need them big studio or them things anymore. And that's the story that I want you guys get proper. I don't know if you have links, but I have the links for you to talk to the person. The person who I know most responsible for that rhythm. And I think it's a story that needs to be exposed.
It is a story we want to tell that story.
Well, all right. I can make that by later I call and hook it up. That's
Absolutely.
a great story. And the impact is much greater than even the slinking sound. What it meant was home studios, smaller studios, digitization. So the music moved from analog to digital, almost based almost entirely on the success of slinking. So that became the Sly and Robbie had introduced it. Well, Sly was into him drum machine and him look at one, could I make him thing at home.
NPC.
So in other words, Danny Brown and them. So in other words, that whole era of Steel and Cleve and Main Street and thing and Sly and Taxi thing came out of that thing that we Jamaicans actually ready for this kind of non-analog thing. And we were. Because slinking was so powerful. Remember Barrington used to play the version, in other words, same version of the same song. What slinking was is different versions on the same rhythm.
Same rhythm.
Yeah, man. So it's a brand new different thing. And look about because of how big it was now, that whole one rhythm album now became a thing. I mean, I guess by the next section.
Yeah, before that it was really Stalag.
So in come the thing called the Rumors Rhythm, them kind of rhythm, them albums. So it's one of them. It's one of the most exciting times in Jamaican music that probably need to be documented a little more accurately than I am doing. But it's something that really exciting. We could have spent two entire shows just talking about.
And we are going to do that because that's one of the things we're trying to do, Mikey. I'm watching your reaction, and I've known you for a long time. I'm just watching your reaction as we introduce this aspect of the thing. And it kind of take me back I was a young salesman working for Grace Kennedy, the mid-1980s, Addison Park in Brownstone. That's where I first heard this tune.
And the first time I hear this song was at the Deanery Road and Home and Mountain.
But God, the thing is, because I have to go to work the next morning, I'm a salesman for Grace Kennedy. And I think it was a Tuesday night. And so the dance wicked. And, about 20 DJ line up. That is when I realized that this rhythm is murderous rhythm because everybody want a talk off of the rhythm. And you have the booty boy and the whole of everybody just line up there. And you say to yourself, what the heck? And every man who come and say something on the rhythm, it win. Granted, this slang thing was just off the chain.
Yeah, and then Wayne Smith
when Wayne Smith,
fat thing and the slang
telling
thing and the fat thing.
And then you realize that this is something special. And for me, I was there at the time. I'm working in Ontario's and you get a chance. Jack Ruby is the guinea gog in our Ontario's when it comes to the Jack Ruby sound system. Yeah. And so watching this, it just, again, I'm watching your reaction and I'm drifting back into my time then. It is the most important period for me of the music.
And interestingly, Sly and Robbie was not daunted by all of this because they came out with a slower rhythm and one of them was the waterbed rhythm.
Everybody's a herb man hustling, bright and early in the morning. Everybody's a herb man hustling. I know Sergeant Perry is waiting. Everybody's a herb man hustling. I know it's my neck I'm risking. Everybody's a herb man hustling. But you see that's my daily living. Jump in a minivan, we gonna country. Left me wife and me hungry picnic. Jump in a minivan, we gonna country. Left me wife and me hungry picnic. We have to travel over hills and valleys. Just to find this a good sensei. We have to travel over hills and valleys. Just to find this a good sensei. Wrap up a job with the lawyer. Wrap up a job with the commissioner. Wrap up a job with the doctor. Wrap up a job with nothing big it great. Alright.
Now special request to all the girls who love to eat out the books, man. What time? Lord have mercy. Me say easy super cat and me say easy no man. Easy super cat and me say easy no man. The one sister said that talk about top. But the girl in a Jamaica them a talk about them bobs. Yes, say bobs there. Yes, we go and go eat him out, girl. Say bobs there. Me say go and go hug him up. Yes, say bobs there. Me say go and go love him out. Yes, say bobs there. Girl go and go take a set. Yes, say bobs there. Go give him a hiccup on him neck. Babe, say bobs there. Me say go and go love him out.
Hey, stop crying, man. What's wrong? I ain't that bad.
I'm in pretty good shape. Well, sorry, fellas, only the good ones are chosen for dancehall. You bad ones will spoil the quality.
Hey, puppy love. And I mean, say tiger, him no one puppy love. Put it bye, puppy love. And I mean, say tiger, him no one puppy love. Hey, I want a love that is pure and sure. A love that can feel like river water for sure. Hey, I want a love that is pure and clean. Come listen and the tiger come for nice of the scene.
No one got God, no one got Billy, licky. No one got God, no one got Billy, nyami. No licky, no nyami, too greedy. No licky, no nyami, soon poison. But river that me say them lose him bone. God is a king when sit down pan him throne. No more in a Babylon, tiger we roam. Come me no nyami, me no damn licky. Me no one come set no pines in for me. No one got God, no one got Billy, licky. No one got God, no one got Billy. Hey. Them say Lord Marcus Garvey rise and peace. This son and the tiger, talk lyrics with this. You get me? No one got God, no one got Billy, nyami. No one got God, no one got Billy. Hey. Me not go grudge no one fi where them have. Nah, the tiger man, me love my own. Work on for me money, sweat on me brow.
Junker say him no work on a Sunday. Him not work on a Sunday. Junker say him no work on a Sunday. Him not work on a Sunday. No, hey. Junker say him no work on Sunday. No work on a Sunday. Junker say him no work on Sunday. No work on a Sunday. Think that I'm lying. Kill a mangy dog and you will get your probe. Think I'm lying. You kill a maga dog and you will get your probe. Hey, Junker say him no work on Sunday. No work on a Sunday. No, him not go work on a Sunday. Him no work on Sunday.
All right, so we did urban hustling, not hustling, hustling. And we did Boops, Super Cat, and this started a whole Boops thing in Jamaica. You were either very good Boops or try to be a Boops. And then, of course, I had to give you back-to-back Tiger with Puppy Love and No Wanga Gut. And then we gave you Tenor No Junker, No Work on Sunday. This was 1986, by the way, guys.
And before you say anything, Mikey, the same Puppy Love song, Grace had again sampled that song in one of its advertising again. So just to put the thing into perspective. But again, the music has now shifted. And, this is the dancehall era dancehall get a bad rap in my opinion, but we don't want to go there with this conversation. The reality is, for me, this is one of, it's a step up in the creativity of Jamaicans, if you will. You said, Mikey, this was the era now where youngsters are realizing, I don't need this tussle of musicians to make a tune, right?
Sure.
I can create a studio environment at my house or some little space, and I can, build a rhythm, or you have the man and build a rhythm and you use it and take it to the next level. But over to you.
Yeah, like for everything that takes place in music, you have the the upside and the downside. The good thing about it, as you say, it offered more flexibility. You didn't have to wait on particular people, and it brought in the era technology. More and more youngsters were getting into the technology because it could happen. The weakness is that we lost some of the gatekeeping was not as active as it should be.
Yeah.
So a lot of songs were sneaking into the thing that probably should not have made past the demo stage. Jamaican radio dropped the ball, I think. In other words, them never legitimized it enough. So in other words, you legitimize it and you set up some standards for it and you start to showcase the ones that you're prepared to play. So in other words, one that you like at a particular level, you push it and send a message to the youngsters. As long as it's as good as this, we will support it. And then he said the whole thing with dancehall, it had the people talking about the sound and then because of the freedom that it brought, people are saying things that, like I said, radio, to get on radio now was like either too expensive, and I'm not even making an excuse for that, or just too hard. So people say, dancehall, sound system and thing. And this was pre-internet now, but this was before people had YouTube and thing. So it even 10 times. But it offered a lot of freedom. And what it also offered, which we don't know, you see, when people play in a live drum and thing, there's a personality that going to it. And there's something born in the culture. There's all of the years of suffering and thing. You can find in the grooves that these, because of these analog thing. So that was missed, that became missing from the digital stuff. But what it allowed though was that the young Japanese guys weren't intimidated by the feel that Sly and Robbie had or that culture. They could do it because it was 1, 2, 3, 4. And they could imitate that easily. And they did. All over the world, youngsters are making reggae beats, dancehall beats. And youngsters in Jamaica who had never been around a drum, so didn't have any rules to follow, were playing drums like them was playing anything. So in other words, it wasn't tiki-tiki-tika. Them was just experimenting. And just like Sling Thing that came out and everybody was saying, what is this? Because it had, don't make it feel like the Sling Thing that came out to a great reception. No, it had a lot of pushback.
I remember that.
So it's when public react to it now, and then, like I said, when David Radigan come and it caused this thing now, and people start to wait, stop me inside. And then it started to sell abroad. And let me tell you something, when things start to sell and there's a demand for things, producers jump in line. And when producers jump in line now, everybody right here is that boy, the baddest tune is Sling Thing. Every artist in Jamaica wanted a piece of the Sling Thing with it. So, if Jammy's put out 30 of them, he might have another 30 that he could have put out. So that was the nature of it, So it was one of them things that had the blessing and the curse, but more blessing, I think, than curse. And it opened the way for experimentation. Pretty much like what's taking place right now with the youngsters trying the Afrobeat or the trap or whatever.
Trap dance.
If they were not doing it, I'd be so disappointed. Sooner or later we're going to find 2 or 3 big songs come out, and it's just like how that Sling thing, and the rest is going to be history again.
Mikey, listen, we can do this for another weeks, if you will. But today, this is all the time we have taken. We're coming back. We're gonna have to ask you to make yourself available. Not this coming
No,
Sunday,
man, I'm looking forward to
but the following Sunday, because
Yeah,
we
man.
want to do part 3
I
of
have
this
a
thing.
special guest I know that I can invite to come along with me. So if I'm available, I know
Yes.
would add a lot of credence and a lot of power to the whole.
Yeah, especially that we're going to be going from 1987 into the 90s.
The 1990s, and this is a part to it. It's your period, this as well, right? But that's all we have time for today, and we're gonna pick it up again next week Sunday, same time, same space.
Well, good. Jagai.